Savannah.
Hey, Emily.
Are you going to make me a Swiftie?
I sure hope so.
I don't know about this.
I have my doubts about this first episode because this album would not make me a Swiftie, to be honest with you.
I feel vindicated.
Okay, good. You know what? If we hadn't decided in advance that we were going to do this in chronological order, this would not be the album that I would show to you first. But I do think it's super important that we talk about Taylor Swift's debut album first, because she sets up a lot of themes in this album that carry on into her other albums. It also provides a nice baseline of like, wow, you were able to be recorded and now you're great.
Yeah, I live under a rock, so I haven't listened to all of Taylor Swift. Right. I have heard 4 or 5 songs from her more contemporary stuff.
Yeah, classics. Shake It Off. That's
everywhere.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Blank
Space, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think those both came out the year I worked at summer camp, so I heard them all summer long.
I'm sure.
The Hi, I'm the Problem, that one. I don't know what it's called.
Hi,
yeah.
I'm the problem. It's called Antihero. It's off of her most recent album.
Yeah, I like that one. So it's cool as a newbie to see, there's a trajectory. That's where we're going. Wow, how are we going to get there?
It's a long journey. It spans a couple decades.
Yeah. Let's walk me through it, my friend.
All right, here we go. Well, debut album. It's self-titled, Taylor Swift. She's young. She's new to the scene. So she actually started out as a country artist, as I'm sure you're well aware.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, that's actually funny because when her first pop album came out, that's what I heard was that it was now pop, whereas she had been country, whereas I had not really been aware that she was country.
You hadn't been aware of her at all.
Yeah, no, I may have heard of her. I think I heard of her as, did you know Taylor Swift is like 16? I think that's probably what I heard.
That's
honestly.
what everybody heard.
Yeah. And so then it was, hey, did you know Taylor Swift is pop? And I was like,
was she anything else?
Right.
Yeah, like, who cares?
Okay, and does this affect my life? It didn't, because I didn't listen to the radio. I lived under a rock, as we've said.
As we have established. I think it was a big deal that she changed from country to pop, because no one had really successfully done that change many times in the past.
Yeah, there might be a few examples.
There might be.
I can't pull one off the top of my head.
No, neither can I.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that is really interesting with her work, that she was able not only to successfully make a change genres where few, if any, artists had done that in the past, but at such a young age. She only had a few albums under her belt that were marked as country before she really tried to branch out into other genres. Fun fact for you.
Fun fact. It's a rock fact.
I have just started watching that show. If anyone hasn't seen Over the Garden Wall.
Over the Garden Wall.
It's weird.
It's a great adaptation of Dante's Inferno.
What? Well, now I have to rewatch the whole thing.
Me too. Well, first I need to reread Dante's Inferno.
Oh, pass. Never mind. I don't want to do that. Okay, so we're talking about her debut album, right? So the reason you don't like this album, and the reason that it's arguably her worst album, is for an understandable reason. She was super young when she wrote this album.
Yep. I think looking back at anything any of us wrote at 16, it's like, wow, compared to us, Taylor was great.
Try 12.
12.
Yeah, she was. She was 12 years old. She wrote Lucky You, which was never released under a record label, at least. It may be leaked somewhere on YouTube if she ever randomly sang that song. So it didn't appear on the debut album, but she also wrote The Outside at a young age. So yeah, the reason this album is not up to par with other albums is because it has no right to be, you know? It's so young.
Fair. Yeah. I also think in the music world, getting your first album published and on the radio, you kind of have to conform, right?
Yes.
So a lot of the distinctives that make Taylor Swift are kind of being overproduced.
Yes. She was still developing a lot of the writing skills that we enjoy about her music today. And she was so young that people were like, you don't know what you're doing. This is how to sell a record. This is how to sell a song.
Which it worked, so.
I mean, fair. Yeah. But they had like a 40-year-old woman helping her write a couple of these songs on here because they were like, well, she is just more mature than you. She's going to know how to write songs, which to a point, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Valid.
absolutely.
Who doesn't want a writing mentor? If they're good. You know?
If they're good.
Yeah.
So I think the overall vibe of this album in particular is there are some bops. You know, some of the songs are catchy, but it's definitely marked by youth and themes of, I would say, heartbreak, teenage angst, etc. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And it's made to fit that one particular sound, the Nashville sound, which everybody loves to hate because it's commercialized and overproduced.
Yeah. Like, for instance, Taylor Swift was born in Pennsylvania.
Right. What is she doing in country music?
Exactly.
So the accent on the debut album.
Very put on.
Yeah. Why am I not surprised? Sounds like the rest of country music.
Ooh, sick burn.
I was trying not to be a hater.
That's okay. I don't really like country music.
Okay.
The country music artist that I like the most is Taylor Swift, and nowadays I don't know that she really counts anymore. So, yeah, no, she was born and raised in Pennsylvania on a Christmas tree farm, and then when she was 11 years old, her family moved to Nashville.
What a magical childhood.
Right?
Yeah.
So any song where she's like, bills piling up on the kitchen table, don't know how they're going to get paid kind of a situation, lies. Just lies. Her father was very well sang, which was how they were able to move their entire family from Pennsylvania to Nashville for her to start singing. Yeah, so she sang the Star Spangled Banner at 13 at a U.S. Open, and that's where she very first got noticed in Nashville.
Breakout event.
The breakout event. Yeah, she got what's called like an artist development deal with RCA Records and started writing some songs. Then she signed with Sony ATV and then Big Machine Records, which is what she's most known for. And there's a whole scandal, and we'll get to that later.
All right.
But for now, they discovered Taylor Swift to a point. But talk about some of your favorites. I mean, this was your first listen through of the album. So give me your favorite. What did you like?
Yeah.
What did you dislike?
I'll say listening through the album, just having it on in the background earlier today. That was not the first time earlier today, but today I had it on in the background. And the first song that I was like, yeah, no, I would intentionally listen to this. That was track 5, which I gather is a big deal.
Yeah.
Track 5 is meaningful on like all the albums.
Yeah.
But it's Cold as You. And it's just, it's gentle and it holds together in a way that I feel like the ones preceding it didn't quite. Not that Teardrops on My Guitar doesn't work. I think it does as a piece of art, but for me, it's just not my jam.
Which is totally fair.
Yeah. But Cold as You, you know, it's moody. I like a moody song, but like it's gotta be sufficiently real and not just moody. And I think she actually strikes something of that balance. Again, it's not like my favorite song in the world, but it's the first one on the album that I was like, yeah, okay.
It feels authentic in a way that I could see a teenager sitting down and writing this with like no help at all and being like, I just went through something. Yeah. And this is what came out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of lines in it that I wrote down lines. You know, I'm taking notes as I'm listening to the album, and I'm, you know, noting different motifs or concrete items that she brings up because, like, you know, the pickup truck. It's not country music if there's not a pickup truck. So, of course, there has to be a pickup truck. Yeah. But in Cold as You, there's a lot of individual lines of poetry that I'm like, oh, this is going to be a theme. That's going to be important. And you can tell, like, it's my first time listening to the album, but I can tell, like, this is a powerful image and I know it's not going away.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, because Taylor Swift now is so known for intentionally doing things in her music, intentionally putting Easter eggs places, and specifically the theme, like track 5. Now track 5 is a thing, where track 5 is usually like one of the most emotionally poignant songs on the album. And I would definitely say that Cold as You is one of the more emotionally poignant songs on this album.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm like, did she really do that at 15 years old? Or was it something that developed over time? Probably more likely that it developed over time. Yeah. But I want to believe that she knew.
But there can't be a pattern until there's repetition, right?
Exactly.
You can't have a pattern with one thing.
And it's not perfect. I personally would say that not all the track 5s are like the most emotional, but it's definitely like a theme and people look for it.
Yeah, I have to wonder how much of that is Taylor Swift composing her albums and how much of that is the way an album flows emotionally.
Right.
You know, we're used to this set of 8 to 14 songs on your CD. You know, you can't just have all the songs that go hard first.
Exactly.
And then all the kind of moodier ones later. Like, that doesn't work. You have to, it's programming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They do it in concerts all the time.
Yeah.
You know, you take your ballad session right
Absolutely.
in the middle or middle end sometimes.
Right. Because your audience has an emotional expectation of a story, or the arc of a story at least, that's going to be conveyed through the variety of songs.
Exactly. You had mentioned Teardrops on My Guitar, and I do want to talk about it a little bit because it is one of the songs on the album that has a music video.
It does. It sure does. Yeah. And it's one of the few songs of Taylor Swift's that I heard by accident.
In nature.
In nature, in the wild.
In the wild. This was one of the first songs that I ever listened to and was like, I have a taste in music, and it's this. Like, my parents listened to each one radio station. One was like classic Christian rock station, and the other one was like straight out of the 80s, nothing but 80s rock. That's it. Those were the genres. And then there was Taylor Swift, who somehow slipped through the cracks on LimeWire.com.
LimeWire? What's that? I've never used LimeWire.
No, only pirates use LimeWire, and I would never do that. How dare you suggest such a thing? But yeah, so it has a special place in my heart because, yeah, it was illegal. She wrote this song, and this is relatable. She wrote this song about a guy who she loved. They were besties.
Deeply.
Deeply. Mm-hmm. They were besties, and he was so comfortable with her. He would just talk about the girl that he loved to her all the time. Ain't
Taylor,
that a kick in the
We've
head?
all been there.
Yeah. His name's Drew. If it makes anyone feel any better, this man did not thrive.
Like, it's one of the things that makes for good songs in general and good country songs kind of in a specific way, that they name names. There's specific concrete places and things and people, but she just names him right there. There's no protecting herself. I think this is like, I think the only way I can read it and make sense of it is that she knows where she's headed.
Yeah.
She knows that this is going to be a compliment to him for him to show up in her songs. You know, it's not going to be like, oh, I was so wistful. It's because it is that, but it's also, she has the confidence to know that, like, I think the teenage impulse is you don't let on who your crush is.
No.
Right. That thing
You'd rather die.
Right. It's incredibly vulnerable, possibly humiliating.
Yes.
She just says it. And I think that's an indication of her direction. She has this very aspirational theme through this whole album that, like, she's got a direction. She's got a song about how she doesn't have direction. I don't buy it, frankly, because almost every song has this idea of she's going to be somebody or he's going to be somebody, and that's what she likes about him.
Yeah, you're right. I hadn't really noticed that theme. We're going to talk about that one and Stay Beautiful. But yeah, that is a big theme of, like, wistfulness, of, like, what's to come. And I don't know how to phrase that other than that. Just, like, she knows, she's wistful for the future and, like, really wants to get there and be a star.
Yeah.
But that's kind of understandable. She started at like 11.
Yeah, she knew what she was doing, which is incredible.
Yeah. But the music video is everything you need it to be for, like, a teenage, in my opinion, for, like, a teenage pop-ish country song.
We are talking about the country version, not the pop version that's at the end of the album.
Oh, the trash version that's at the end of the album.
Honestly, so I listened to that and I was like, I need to listen to it. I suspect that there's going to be nothing significantly artistically different about this. It's just going to be mixed differently so that she could have a chance at being played on pop stations.
Yeah.
100% correct. I don't think there's any reason for that to have been made. And now she doesn't need a pop version of her songs because she's like the queen of pop, unless that's a title that's already taken by somebody.
Maybe Whitney Houston.
Oh, that would be valid.
As she is no longer with us.
What? When did that happen?
Girl, what?
Whitney Houston died?
Babe, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, but it has been a minute, fam.
All right, this has been evidence of how much under a rock.
Yeah.
Did
you know the Queen of England also died?
I did hear about that one.
Okay.
That one's a little more in my sphere.
There we go. I'm so shook right now. I'm trying to remain calm. Yeah, I would say she's definitely America's sweetheart, if not the queen of pop today. I think that's fair.
Fair.
I am so shook that you did not know this about Whitney Houston. No, that's
I'm
totally
embarrassed.
fine. Don't be embarrassed. There's a lot of things you will school me on, and I'm sure
Probably not on this podcast.
next time, the next one. Yeah, so, but the music video. Everything you want it to be for like a teen wistfully thinking about the guy she likes.
In 2006.
In 2006.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Firmly planted in 2006.
Little soft focus, little primary colors, very vibrant.
Yeah. We have like, she's wearing this super long mermaid green dress that has no business being as long as it is for her tiny twin bed. She's looking at a framed picture of this boy and is singing to her guitar. It's perfect. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. I mean, if that's what you need, that's what you need, I guess.
It's probably nostalgic for me.
It's fair. Nostalgia is valid.
Yeah. But definitely in this song, we get a lot of the themes of the whole album. Like we've said, it's very...
The physical
angsty.
image, like the fact that she has an actual framed picture. I mean, there's a whole song, Picture to Burn. Like, you can't burn a photo on your phone, which is what you would have nowadays.
Yeah.
Which kind of robs you of some satisfaction, I'm sure.
It does. Deleting photos is not the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our song?
Our song. I love this song.
Our song is genuinely cute.
It's adorable. Yeah. I listen to this all the time. I listen to it on repeat. You know, I don't care if it's not her best song ever, but it's one of the better songs on this album for sure. It's very catchy.
Yeah.
And it's very sweet. What were your favorite parts? Because I have favorite parts.
I like the little rhythmic subversion that she does. It just...
For the plebeians, can you tell me what a rhythmic subversion is?
Context, like most of these songs are formulas, right? It's very verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. And that's okay. There's a formula because it works, right?
Yeah.
But the thing you have to do if you're going to make a good song is change it somehow. And if you are a Taylor Swift fan and know this song, I know that you probably know exactly the moment that I'm talking about when it changes. She changes the rhythm in the tapping on his window or tapping on your window.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? The moment in the
rhythm,
song.
it changes a little bit.
Yeah. And it's enough to, like, everybody was probably tapping their toes along with the song up to that point, right? And then she gets your attention back from the, oh, this is nice. Because, this is nice is the death of
a good song.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So rhythmic subversion is not...
She's subverting your expectations in the rhythm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's all I meant. It's not like I don't think it's a technical term.
No,
like,
but see, now you've told me something I don't know. That's
hey,
wonderful.
I
Well, I love that. I really like how she is constantly reframing the chorus, the same words, but she's using the actual verses to reframe the chorus multiple times. Like at one point, she is asking God to play it again, the song that she is describing in the chorus. At one point, she says there's a note that says, etc. Cue the chorus.
Yeah.
So she's constantly giving new meaning to the same words, and I really like that.
Oh, and she does that in the super early line, right?
Yeah.
He's got one hand on the steering wheel and the other on my heart. Obviously, his hand is not on the steering wheel in the same way that it's on her heart. That would be weird. Who drives like that? But we know what she means, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's like a grammatical word for that someone somewhere knows. Maybe it's you.
It might be zoigma.
Zoigma.
Zoigma. Zeugma. The part of speech, I think, might be incorrect for what that word is. But when you change the meaning of a word that's applying to two different things in two different ways.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Zoigma.
I'm going to call it reframing because I can't
Sounds
pronounce
good.
that. But you can see it here. It's on her debut album, and she does that for the rest of her career. And she only gets better at it. Like, this is one of her most powerful lyrical tools, I would say, in her writing.
Yeah, because it keeps it fresh, right?
Yeah.
It changes it. You don't want to stay at, oh, that's nice.
Absolutely.
You have to get the interest back by giving it more meaning.
Yeah. So our song, What a Bop. Very, very cute.
Yeah. And the mirroring lyrics, the way she portrays the mutuality of their relationship, as opposed to most of the other songs on this album, which are very much about unrequited love because, hey, that's high school.
Yeah.
But she portrays that mutuality in this particular relationship in the way that she constructs the lyrics and how first he sings it, then she sings it back to him, and then they're both singing it. It's a portrayal. Like if this were a choir, we'd call that text painting.
I love it. And this was actually written about a relationship that she actually had. She wrote this for her sophomore year talent show
Dang,
at school.
son.
I know. And people like in the halls were like, wow, I keep singing that song that you wrote for the talent show. And she was like, oh, maybe I should put that on my album. That will go platinum 1 year later.
Good call. Good call.
Good call. It was also written about the same boy that Tim McGraw was written about.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You hate Tim McGraw. You hate it. I can see it in your face. I know you hate it. Tell me why.
It's true. I don't know. I don't like the music video.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It's not good.
I don't know. There's something about the way the cynicism in the first sort of opening image where he's complimenting her eyes, comparing them to the Georgia stars.
Yeah. Which she's never lived in Georgia.
Yeah. Where does that come from?
From being a country music artist.
In Nashville, Tennessee.
You know what? We all do things for our craft. Like lying.
It's artistic license, okay?
Yeah.
But anyway, she says that's a lie.
Uh-huh.
And
you wish she trusted this boy a little bit more.
maybe, I don't know, there's just something kind of cynical and coy in a negative way for me about that. Yeah, maybe it's the missing trust. Trust is a big deal for me.
Yeah, I mean, I would say for most people. Let's put that into context. She was a freshman and he was a senior. So I think there was probably, I don't know.
Some flattery going on there.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to keep this freshman girl interested in him because he probably likes feeling liked by a younger girl. So he's flattering her a lot. And she's trying to be worthy of this like older boy's affection. So she's playing coy, trying to do the little like, oh, toss my head. You don't affect me kind of a thing, which again, you're probably right. That's not like a healthy thing to do.
Yeah. It's just, I don't like the picture of that relationship. It's
That's
just,
fair. Yeah, that's fair.
There's that. There's the attitude of the song regarding the relationship that is like, I hope that every time you hear this thing, that it's mine in your mind. It's like she wants that piece of his thought life.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's an angle on that could be sweet and wistful and just kind of, yeah, good memories. But like, it doesn't come across as good memories to me. It comes across as a little bit, I don't know, maybe vengeful.
Maybe a little bit of that. When I hear it, I tend to think it's a little bit more wistful of like, I do hope that you think about me sometimes, but you know, people are complex and there might be a little bit of both in there.
Yeah. And that's a strength of her writing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Being able to be read multiple ways.
Yes, but that's fair. It was her first single. It was wildly popular though. Not that your opinion is wrong.
All right, whatever.
No. It's not my favorite on the album either. I'm just giving you a hard time.
That's what podcasts are for.
Hey, abuse your friends, record it, release it. Let's go to a more positive song.
More positive song.
And the last song we'll probably talk about.
Oh, this is a perfect contrast because Stay Beautiful is this her talking to someone. Granted, they were not actually dating.
Yeah.
But talking to someone and saying, hey, here's what I hope for your future.
Yeah.
And it's not every time you hear a song on the radio by a particular artist, I am brought to your mind and you can't think about anything else. More ha ha.
No, yeah. It's just like, wow, this person is so great. And I really hope that he has a great future.
Has a great future and does not lose what is so great about him. Like, stay beautiful. Also, can we bring back the concept of masculine beauty? Like,
please.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I want to be able to call men, beautiful, and have it not be like just a completely feminine word. But that is a different podcast.
That's a different world than the one we live in.
Yeah, I
also.
mean, it is.
Yeah.
But I think it's so, I love the lyrics. You're beautiful, every little piece, love. Don't you know you're really going to be someone?
There's that aspirational thing going on.
There's the aspirational piece we were talking about. But also it's not even saying that he's someone who has great aspirations. She has that for him. And that's
Which is sweet.
Lovely concept to have about another person.
Yeah.
That she never dated.
Yeah.
She just, had a crush and was like, Corey, live long and prosper.
Yeah, amen.
But way less nerdy. Oh,
Taking pictures in my mind. Again, the picture theme coming back.
Yeah. The bridge. If you and I are a story that never gets told, if what you are is a daydream I'll never get to hold, at least you'll know. And then it goes into the chorus. You're beautiful. Every little piece. Wishing him well, even if they never get together.
That's beautiful.
Stay beautiful.
So before we finish, we should talk about the fake smile motif.
Ah, yes.
Especially since Taylor Swift is so known for creating a persona. this recurring theme in the first album, I think, is really telling. Not that she's at her core someone who lies to people. Like, that's what a fake smile is. It's an intentional concealment of your feelings, right?
Right. But not in like a malicious way, you're saying.
Right. Not necessarily. Everybody fakes smiles for some reason or another at some time during probably every day.
Every day. Every single day.
But the fact that she uses that in so many songs, 3 songs on the same album, like her very first album. I'm going to roll this in with the larger theme that I'm sure we'll talk more about, of her creating this persona that is distinct from her as the poet behind the performance.
Right.
But Teardrops on My Guitar, she's faking a smile to conceal her feelings about the boy.
Right.
Cold as You, the boyfriend's faking smiles and she thinks he's condescending.
Ooh, that general distrust is there again.
General distrust. And also, is her fake smile condescending? Apparently, like, one fake smile could be, is hers. She's doing the same thing.
Well,
possibly.
I'd say it's a different relationship.
Absolutely. Like, context matters.
Context matters.
But the image is the same.
It is.
And then, of course, tied together with a smile is about faking smiles. Surprise, surprise. But that's in the context of concealing the trouble that you're in, right?
Yeah.
Somebody who's going through a hard time and doesn't know how to ask for help or something like that.
Yes.
Entirely different. But again, is that some kind of condescension? Because I mean, speaking from personal experience, like, there's a level when you're hiding the fact that you're having problems. It's because you don't want to admit that you need help and you think you shouldn't need help from these people.
I see where you're going with that. Yeah. I'd say that there's probably an aspect of that to every fake smile. And I do think it's interesting that each of these times in the songs where she says fake smile, it's by a different person. One is her boyfriend. The other one is her friend. So an interesting view into her worldview of how everybody is sort of hiding something. Can you really trust what people are telling you? And that's,
should we trust what she's telling us as the artist?
Emphatically, yes.
Believe every word Taylor Swift says.
Taylor Swift has ever said is true. No, obviously we're going into this with eyes open, but yeah, no, but that's an interesting thought to think about. It's just in such a young person and as such a young songwriter to have so much distrust of other people and sometimes of herself, especially on this album when she's talking about a place in this world. She doesn't seem to trust herself in where she's going.
I have to wonder how much that song really doesn't fit with the rest of the album.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like it lacks the direction. It's aspirational, certainly, in the same way that other songs are, but not in the same way because there's no direction. She's claiming to be content being alone, but every other song is about how she is who she is in the context of other people. Not in a bad way. That's not a negative thing, but it's always a relationship or her family or her friend or someone that she doesn't have a relationship with beyond friendship. And it's about the relationships, which I think is a really human thing. And that's why those songs appeal, right?
Yeah. So you're saying the song doesn't fit in because it's more introspective instead of like relational in aspect?
I wouldn't contrast introspective with relational because I think Cold as You is very much looking at her own feelings.
In the context of a relationship.
Right.
Sure. I would say that, in my opinion, A Place in This World, it at first glance does seem like it really sticks out. But if you're looking at like authenticity of feeling, I think it sort of hits the mark there because this is a girl, a very young girl who's literally sitting on her bedroom floor. She's told this story many times. She's sitting on her bedroom floor writing these songs, and it's a catharsis for her to get feelings out that she's feeling currently in that moment. And so it's kind of a hodgepodge of any emotion that you feel as a teenager, which often feels super all over the place.
Yeah, disparate for sure is a word for those things.
Yeah. So in that way, for me, I'm like, yeah, no, that goes on a teenager's album.
Oh, for sure.
But musically, I can see where you're coming from or thematically. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But, I think, again, you can't have a pattern with one thing. So I'm coming into this and I'm like, well, I see patterns within these songs and I have very limited information about where this is going.
That's fair.
So maybe more context will bring that song into reconciliation with the other songs on the album.
Maybe. I'll also say for me, it's one of the more forgettable songs on the album.
Fair.
And in her entire career.
There's no rhythmic subversions to bring you back on that one.
Yeah, but I do like what you've said about her creating this persona. And I do think that's going to be a huge theme in her, not necessarily in her lyrics, but in how she does performances, how she has tried to live within the spotlight of being a celebrity as she grows in fame. And that translates into all aspects of her performances. And she has lyrics much later on, one in Mirrorball, where it says, "I've never been a natural. All I do is try, try, try." And she talks about that in several interviews where it's just like, I'm always trying to do what the media said I couldn't do, or that I shouldn't do, or I should do this, so I try to do that, but I can never please anyone. And
yeah, never please anyone, says the lady with 1 billion fans.
Yes.
But we know what you mean.
Yeah. The capital T, they always want her to do
the
whatever.
haters. So is haters a specifically Taylor Swift term?
No, absolutely
it's not. Okay,
Mm-mm.
because it's very strongly associated with her and people who don't like her in my mind, which I feel like,
I mean, she has songs that talk about like her haters, but I just feel like that's kind of music industry. It's general.
okay.
If someone doesn't like you, they a hater.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I hate that I've said that.
Great. Well, we'll be back in 2 weeks with the second album, which is what?
Fearless.
Okay.
This is such an era. This is where she really takes off, in my opinion. And I'm so excited for you to listen to these songs, because these songs on Fearless are worth taking note
All right.
of. So
all right.
I think I can guess your answer on this, but Emily, would you say you're a Swiftie yet?
No.
Hard no.
That's a no from me, dog.
Completely fair. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a much better album to review.
Solid.
And hopefully we can change your mind.
All right. Well, thanks, Savannah. This has been fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, listeners, for listening. This is a production of DieCast Media Group. We are your hosts, Emily and Savannah. Thanks to Joseph, our editor, David, our tech manager, and Rebecca, our publicist.
Thank you. See you next week.
Bye-bye.